Good afternoon, YouTube. Good afternoon. This is your homegirl, Arabia Barbosa, 914 Westchester County, New York, doing another live video real quick. I'm not going to be up here that long. A shout out to the chat. Shout out to my YouTube creators. Shout out to my subscribers. Shout out to my support team. Shout out to my moderators. Shout out to people that write in my comments section. It is what it is. A shout out to the chat. This is your homegirl, Arabia Barbosa. I'm not gonna be up here that long. I'm not gonna be up here that long. But I just want to come in and tell everyone hello. Everyone that comes over into this chat, that hit the playback button, whatever it is. Thank you for coming over. Thank you for coming over. Shout out to you. Shout out to you. It is what it is. I'm not going to be up here that long, but I see what I see that's going on in this YouTube app. I'm not blinded to nothing. I'm not deaf to nothing. It was a friend I had called me yesterday and said, Arabia, I need your help. So I went over there and helped them. Now I'm back at my house. Back at my house. A shout out to the chat. It is what it is. 914 Westchester County, New York. I don't know who's going to come into the chat. I don't know who's going to come into the chat. But everyone that comes into this chat is welcome. Thank you for coming over. Thank you for visiting with me. It is what it is. And you see the title of this video. You see the title. You see the thumbnail. The thumbnail has an owl in the thumbnail. And that is who I am. The different parts of my life, that's who I am. Because when people ask me for help, ask me for my assistance, that's who shows up. It's either the owl, the German Shepherd, the Jeeper Creeper on this shit, Lucy the Vampire, the BT-1000. It doesn't matter who show up, I show up. Arabia Barbosa, 914 Westchester County, New York. I always show up. When people ask me to support them, I'm not talking about people on YouTube. I'm not talking about people on YouTube. I'm talking about an everyday life, everyday situation. We watching what's happening with Wendy Williams. We watching what's going on with her. There was a YouTuber came up here earlier this morning and said, does Wendy Williams need to be in a nursing home? Does she need to be in a nursing home? Because the nursing home will automatically expose all the truth, what's going on with Wendy Williams. I'm not concerned what's going on with Wendy Williams and that space. I'm not concerned with that. They said she got dementia. Where did dementia come from? Now they're saying it's alcohol-induced dementia. So that means they are blaming her for her own illness. It is what it is. A shout out to the chat. Shout out to the chat. I want people to write in the comment section, do you think Wendy Williams induced her own demise? Because when we look at all the evidence, we look at everything that happened over the years with that woman, do you think is self-inflicted? People talk about borderline personality disorder. People talking about borderline personality disorder being a mental illness. And it is caused by feeling that you was abandoned. And we got a lot of people on this YouTube app in the world feeling that they was abandoned or they were mistreated in a certain way. A shout out to the chat. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not none of those people. But it's a big question. It's a big question. And I asked myself this morning when I saw another of her videos coming up, because people have been following Wendy Williams, been posting shit about her. Is it self-inflicted? Her dementia, her illness. Is it self-inflicted? You got to remember who Wendy Williams is. But we also remember who Judy Garland is. We remember her. We remember. We remember Phyllis Hyman. We remember Whitney Houston. We remember Tupac Shakur. We remember different celebrities in Hollywood and in the music industry. Did they self-inflict this shit on themselves? Did they do it? Now, shout out to the chat. Shout out to the chat. It is what it is. I'm not perfect. I'm not God Almighty, but I am made in the image of God. I am made in the image of God. Arm, leg, arm, head. 360 degrees. I will never forget what happened to my sister-in-law years ago. 2011, Newport News, Virginia. She was murdered. My niece was murdered. My two nephews were murdered in Newport News, Virginia. And as the years passed, I found out my baby girl, my biggest friend in this life, knew who she married when she divorced my brother. When she divorced my brother, she married another man that made sure she was out of here and all the children from my brother was out of here. Now, shout out to the chat. I'm not blind. I'm not stupid. I'm 50 years old, getting ready to turn 51 in a few more weeks. Oh, shout out to the chat. Shout out to the chat. I'm not going to do no roll call today. It doesn't need to be a roll call done. I have done things to my own self in this own life. Yes, I have. Yes, I have. Yes, I have. A few weeks ago, there were some items in my home that I gave away. I gave away. And when one of my friends found out about it, I was approached and asked about those items. I don't know where those items went, but they are very valuable and important to other people. Stuff that other people can use. I'm not using it. Shout out to the chat. I gave them away. I gave those items away. And you know what people start saying about me? Arabia getting ready to kill herself. Arabia is thinking about suicide. No, I'm not thinking about suicide. I just wanted to give away those items. I'm not going to be a hoarder like the woman that raised me. She hoarded magazines, newspapers, different items in her life, whether it be microwaves or TVs. That's what she did. She gave those items away. Yes, she did. Yes, she did. Shout out to the chat. And when I started doing the same thing, everybody was like, Arabia getting ready in her own self. I don't have to do anything. The universe will do it for me. And I ain't running to no light that ain't there. Now, shout out to the chat. It is what it is. Now, let's see what she said. Empress Lonnie One Love said, I will say, after drug abuse for many years will cause different health conditions. Do you know those different health conditions will turn into dementia? Do you know that will happen? It happens. It happens. A shout out to the chat. But we're going to talk about it today. We're going to talk about this shit today. Because I'm sick and tired of hearing about Wendy Williams. We all know she's a woman that was on the radio in New York and in Philadelphia. Shout out to New York and Philadelphia. Shout out to both of these different places that woman worked in. Phyllis Hyman did the same thing. Whitney Houston did the same thing. Is it self-induced? Do they have self-mutilation stuff going on? Do they have borderline personality disorder? Because that's what I was diagnosed with years ago. Borderline personality disorder, major depression recurrent, and ain't never going in. I gave away items out of this house. When I look for them, I don't see them. I have to remember I gave those items away. And the person that picked them up called me a day later, trying to check on me. That person comes to this house regularly. Just tricked me yesterday to go to their house. Oh, baby, I need your help. I need your help. I need your assistance. I need you to do this. I need you to do that. They had me up and down all night. I could not get no sleep. Shout out to the chat. I cooked the dinner for us. I prepared everything for the house. I cleaned up certain areas in the house. Yes, I did. Yes, I fucking did. And that person, when they dropped me off to my house this morning, before 9:30 this morning, they said, call me back in the next hour. I'm not going to call you. You need to call me. A shout out to the chat. They heard me laughing. Not too long ago. Is this what it looks like? That's what happened to my sister-in-law. She had already decided her fate years ago. She laughed. She talked. She had parties at her house. Barbecues. She had everything going for her. And one day, I got that phone call. It came at 10:30 at night. I was still living in New York when I got that fucking phone call. The rain fell all that day. One of my homeboys came to the house and he said, Arabia, what's wrong? I said, we got to go to Virginia. We got to leave. He said, I'm getting ready to call somebody right now. And guess what we did? We left. We went to the McDonald's right there on South Broadway, Yonkers, New York. We went there. We bought the food. We did everything we had to do. Then we traveled down to Virginia. When they took me to Newport News, Virginia, I got out that car and ran to my sister's house. When we went back to South Carolina, we went for the wake. We went for the funeral. Shout out to Chet. I will never forget that day. I will never forget. But I never forgot what she said to me years ago. Arabia, will you remember me? Do not forget about me. I ain't forget. I ain't never gonna forget. I'm close to my next birthday. My next birthday. I gave away items in this house that was not supposed to be given away. But I did it because I don't use those items. It was a TV and some other items that's in this house. That was in this house I gave away. Shout out to the chat. The only one that knew about those items being given away was somebody that used to come to this house ever so often. And they trying to keep tabs on me. They trying to keep tabs on me because the birthday gift ain't come back up. We all remember what happened in the last birthday party I had. Who paid for everything? Who did this? Who did that? Doesn't even fucking matter. It doesn't fucking matter. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the chat. It doesn't matter. Shout out to my YouTube creators, my subscribers, my support team, those that write in my comments section. It is what it is. I'll be 51 years old this month in a few more weeks. And I started giving away a lot of shit out of this house. Everything was of value. I gave the fuck away. I gave it away. There was no monetary thing that came back into this house. The other person came Friday morning, took me away from this house. I had to turn off everything. The lights, I had to turn off everything and clear this house. Shout out to the chat. I went to their house and sat with them for a few hours. And I said, I want to go back home this morning. I want to go home. Don't worry about it, baby. I'll take you home. I'll take you home. But I need you to come back next week to check on me. They ain't doing it because they want me to check on them. They thinking Arabia Barbosa going to get the fuck out of here. That's what they thinking about. They check my cabinets, my bathroom area, where the pills are at, where the alcohol is at. They check everything. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the chat, because every time I talk to that person, I'm always in a good mood. I'm always laughing, talking, cooking for them, doing things for them. They get afraid when I don't go to work. They get afraid. That's why they went to that job that I always go to and said, you better have plenty of work for this woman to go to. If she don't got no work, guess what's going to happen? Guess what's going to happen? They are afraid. I'm not afraid. I ain't never going to be afraid. I did not do anything to myself or anybody else. Have not done anything. But I'm getting ready to grow older in this body, in this female body. And shout out to the chat. Somebody just hit the link. I don't know who it is, but you better cam up. I don't know who that is. I don't want nobody to hit my link unless you're going to stick with the subject. And the subject is I know. And the hour was in the thumbnail. You know what happened years ago when they died? All of them died. Every time I go into a dream, I always appear as an owl. I don't never appear as my true self. A shout out to the chat. I'm not gonna be up here that long. Not gonna be up here that long. But I'm gonna tell y'all all one thing. I had a good run on YouTube. I had a good life. I had different things happen to me when I was a child, when I became a teenager, when I got in my 20s, my 30s, my 40s. I'm in my 50s. I'm in my 50s. Who wants to go out like Wendy Williams? Who wants to do that? A shout out to the chat. I've committed my sins. Yes, I have. I've done everything. Done everything. And I'm happy about it. When I play certain music on my Wi-Fi, I get excited. I get happy. But Friday morning, that person knocked on the door. The door didn't answer. They came to the window, knocked on the window. I opened the door. The person came into the house. They looked all around. They looked all around. Everything looked normal to them. Oh, your birthday gonna be in a few more days. What you gonna do for your birthday? You supposed to go back to New York a couple of days after your birthday. Can you actually make the trip? You know your people are dying. You know your people are doing what they doing. My grandmother, she don't remember me no more. The woman is over 93 years old now. She just had a birthday in February. She's Aquarius. She missed her son. She had two sons. She missed them. She talk about them all the time. Aunt Ernestine, Aunt Cynthia is gone. Those are my father's siblings. Shout out to the chat. They died. All of them are dead. The woman that raised me is dead. The man that raised me is dead. Nobody is alive. That one that had the hands on my mother's estate, the woman that raised me, keeping all the money to himself. Keeping all the money to himself. Stole from me. He stole from the other ones. But everybody is too afraid to say, Arabia, everything is stolen. You know how afraid they are? They call me, laugh, talk, but they don't talk about the real what we need to be talking about. They don't do it. They hang up as soon as I question them about certain things about that estate. They hang up because they already know what's going to happen if I don't get the right answer. If I don't get the right answer. Now, I've done my shit on this goddamn YouTube app. Nobody is responsible for my happiness or nothing else. But that person that came here Friday, I'm familiar with them. They only came to come get me. Why? Because they know this month is my birthday. They know. They know ain't too much money flowing around anymore like the way it was. Shout out to the chat. I don't give a fuck about that goddamn money. I don't give a fuck about this YouTube channel. YouTube channel, over 600 subscribers. Only 7 of you stayed with me. Only 7 of you stayed with me. Some of my YouTube creators, oh, they stuck with me. They stuck with me. A shout out to the chat. It is what it is. Shout out to the chat. I'm not going to be up here that long. I'm not dropping the link anymore. My birthday is coming. Didn't I say I was going to get up for YouTube around my birthday? That person heard it. That's why they came to this house Friday and took me to their house. Try to keep me busy over there. But when I got depressed, I said, I want to go back home. I want to go home. They dropped me off back to my house. Said, baby, come back to my house this week coming. Why? Why I'm coming back to your house? I already did everything. I did everything I was supposed to do. Everything I did was done. Completed. My mission, my job is completed. Everyone else can say whatever they want to say. I don't give a fuck. My job is done. Now shout out to the chat. Yeah. I got different people hitting my link. They are troll accounts. Troll accounts. But I did my job. I did my job for the YouTube creators. I did my job for the subscribers. I did my job. My job is done. After today, I don't need to do no more videos. I can be silent, just like everyone else. Go silent. Your biggest thing, what you do in this life, becomes physically. Physically. Not with words, not with songs, not with what you think or how you feel. It's what you already did. I already did my job. My job is done. My job on YouTube is finished. I don't need to do anything else. I don't need to say anything else. Let other people say it. Let other people say it. Now shout out to the chat. Now we got the thing going on. We got this going on. We got the camera off. Camera's not showing me. But we're going to show something that needs to be showed on this YouTube app. And shout out to the chat. We're going to release the camera. We're going to release the camera. We are going to release the camera as it needs to be released when it needs to be released. And shout out to the chat. Now, I've done my job. I've done my job for my YouTube creators, my subscribers, my moderators, my support team. I've done my job. My job is done. Last night sealed what was supposed to have been done. And that person kept asking me to do different things over the night. Get this, get that. Please help me with that. It's done. I was tired. By 1 o'clock in the morning, I was tired. I said, no, let me go home in the morning. And you drop me off. Drop me off back at my house. And they did. Now shout out to the chat. My job is done. I don't need to do anything else. Only thing I need to do is listen to other people on this YouTube app. Let them do this shit. My birthday will be in a few more days. One of my nephews, he'll send the money like he always do every year. Ever since my my mother, the woman that raised me, ever since she died, everything is done. I don't go back to her house. I talk to my siblings. I talk to my cousins. Everybody like Arabia is good. Arabia is good. We don't need to look out for her. She good. Look at the thumbnail. That tells it all. That's why I'm so happy. And I'm going to celebrate for the next few days until my birthday. Birthday come, have a big celebration. It'll be it. I ain't doing no more. I ain't doing another thing. Only thing I'm gonna do is celebrate the fact that everybody is good. Everybody's okay. Shout out to the chat. Because my biggest fear is to get older and older. Who wants to be who wants to be 70 years old and everybody in your family is dead and gone? That has already happened. Way before I even turned in my late 30s. Most of the people in my family was already dying. A shout out to the chat. I don't give a fuck about none of that. They did their job. I did my job. I'm not here to make other people happy or to have them laughing or trying to troll me, palm bomb me. We already went through all this. We already went through all of it. Now, shout out to the chat. It is what it is. 914, which is the county of New York, we already did our job. Our job is done and over. We are on March the 2nd. This is March the 2nd. My birthday is in a few more days. I don't give a fuck about this app. I'm going to do what I want to do, celebrate like the way I want to celebrate, party like the way I want to party. Don't nobody pay for my shit but me. And shout out to the chat. We out of here. Y'all have an awesome day. A shout out to the chat. Shout out to the chat. Now we're going to say it in different phrases of Swahili and Spanish. Oh, yeah. I remember when I was living homeless years ago and I started learning Swahili. And when I wanted my friends to come with me to certain places, I would say, Kuja na mimi, kula chakula, miji baridi, vente aquí conmigo, las comidas está lista. That's what I used to say. I used to mix the Swahili with the Spanish. Kuja na mimi, kula chakula. That means come with me to get something to eat. Vente aquí conmigo. Come with me. Las comidas está lista. That's in Spanish. Come with me. The food is ready. Now, what is my other Swahili phrases? For those that have done good things to me, what did I say to you? Wewe ni mizuri. Wewe ni mizuri means you are good. You are awesome. If I want to say you are welcome, I would say una kari bishwa. Una kari bishwa. You are welcome. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the chat. I've done my job. My job is done. Shout out to the chat. Had different other YouTube creators ride with me on this channel. Maybe the older channels as well, but this channel was the biggest problem this year. And I had been on YouTube for since 2017. 2017. This is what, 2024? That means I've been up here on this YouTube app doing videos for 7 years, almost over 7 years, under different other YouTube channels. But had my last name, my family last name, Barbosa de Soto. It is what it is. I don't give a fuck what nobody say about me. I don't care. I've done my job. My job is done. I don't need to do anything more. I don't need to say anything. I don't need to do anything that I don't want to do. I got the knock on the door the other day. They knew I was here. They knocked on the door, then they had to come to the window. They had the car already out there. But when I got tired, I said I want to come home. Drop me off home. They already gave me the money, what I needed. Drop me home. My food is already here. My cigarettes is already here. My liquor, whatever I want, it's here. Now shout out to the chat.